Once again, we can't have nice things. Not today, not in current modern day, as the X-Men 97 trailer released, and upon first glance, hey, it looks pretty good, right? Not bad. Well, as we dig deeper, of course, the woke ideology seeps itself into this, as they even make morph non-binary. You know, that fake gender that just recently sprouted up. Let's go ahead and dive into the video. So if you haven't watched the trailer, I'm not going to share it here because I don't want to get copyright and all that kind of stuff, but it actually looked pretty cool aside from like Storm having that generic side shaved lesbian haircut. But you know, it's like, okay, this might be good. Well, then I made this tweet. I said the trailer looks great. But then you see this. I don't trust that there won't be more woke stuff thrown in. I guess we'll see. So then you have the Daily Bugle here. They have a mutant fashion show. And as you can see, there's a burqa because for some reason it's woke. It's progressive to put women in burqas. Okay. So you have that. And then you got a bunch of queer looking stuff here. Okay. And this is a cartoon that children watch. So, of course, this was just, you know, when I saw this, it's like, okay, this is just a little hint. If they throw this in there, this is going to be, they try to make the trailer, apart from this little part that most people didn't even notice because it just flies through in a second. Apart from that, it's like, okay, this looks like it was meant to appease the old school 90s cartoon X-Men fans, right? I grew up watching the X-Men cartoon, loved it. Cyclops was my favorite character. So it's like, okay, wow, this is giving me nostalgia, right? Wrong. It's a bait and switch. So as we see here, the X-Men updates say Morph's characterization in X-Men 97. This is a lighter take on the character who is non-binary and has an interesting buddy relationship with Wolverine. That's sus. Oh, they're just buddies. We'll see about that. The characters passed with Mr. Sinister, the show's villain, could also come into play. So here you have that. And some people came from Empire Magazine. Some people were questioning the source, but it is real right here. When you read Morph's little blurb right there, that is actually real. So that's a thing. All right. So I said, and there it is. I'll pass on this. And of course, a bunch of people were raging in the comments. Oh, the X-Men's always been queer. Oh, they've always been queer. Oh, it's an allegory for queer people, queer and black people, which for some reason they lump black people into gay and queer stuff as if there's a comparison when there's not. Why are you lumping black people with gay and queer people? It makes no sense. It's insulting. And this is the reason why they do it, is because they have absolutely no validity. The whole queer cult have no validity and trying to be, oh, I'm oppressed, oh, poor me. And so they want to piggyback off of what black people went through in the past, which, mind you, I don't think these days that racism is a widespread issue in the U.S. Against black people. There's always going to be some anomaly, racist people out there, but it's definitely not the popular opinion to be racist against black people. But it is approved, culturally, socially approved to hate on white people all the time, but that's another discussion. So I made a tweet here. I said the X-Men were not queer. Y'all can't create anything worth a toss, so you try to corrupt what already exists, just like Satan himself. And that's the fact of the matter. That's just where we're at. How every time they try to make all these queer shows and stuff, they don't succeed. Look at the movie Bros, for example. Things like that. For the most part, they don't succeed. There's very rare exceptions. Like I think Brokeback Mountain might have done well back in the day. But there are very, very rare exceptions of that. And so because they can't create new queer stories that would be worth anything, because it wouldn't, they want to hijack everything that had already existed prior and try to act like, oh, this was always queer. Oh, it's bullcrap. It is bullcrap. Like I said, just like Satan himself, you want to corrupt what already exists because Satan can't create. He can only corrupt what already is there. And it's the same thing. And this isn't a coincidence because queer ideology, all of that LGBT stuff, it is not of God. Okay? It is evil. It is sin. And not that I think every single person who is gay or whatever is an evil person, but they are corrupted and they are demonically oppressed and they are in the trenches of sin, just like straight people who are living promiscuous lifestyles are also in the trenches of sin and they need Jesus. Everyone has their own different struggles with sin, and for some people, it's that. But that being said, the whole ideology is from Satan, and it's being shoehorned in all this stuff. And here, I know this is different, but of course, I have to talk about Tomb Raider. They try, even with something like, look at something like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, who was this very feminine, hyper beautiful woman. Okay, women are beautiful. God created women beautiful. The Bible talks about beautiful women. And you notice that every time these progressive companies are getting a hold of these women, they try to make them look more masculine. They try to make them look less beautiful. Okay, and the excuse is always, oh, well, you want to play a pornographic game. Why do you want to play a pornographic game? Classic Tomb Raider wasn't pornographic. Lara Croft wore hiking gear. But she had a very beautiful, feminine body type, face, all that. There is nothing wrong with beauty. There is nothing pornographic about beauty. And the same people who want to act like, oh, if a pretty character exists, that must be pornographic. These same people are praising things like Baldur's Gate 3 that lets you fornicate with a bear. Okay, I don't want to hear it because they are some of the most degenerate people imaginable with their furry gay fan arts that they're making all the time. So don't even pretend like this is about respecting women. It's not. You don't have to making women look like men is not respecting women either. Okay, I get it if you don't want your main character who's a female to look like she's wearing lingerie and to look like something out of corn, or look like she's had a bunch of plastic surgeries. And look, I get that, but that wasn't a thing. Classic Lara Croft didn't look like that. Making a character beautiful is not that. So here I said realism is just an excuse to give Lara Croft a man's face, even in a realistic style. It's not hard to get the face right when you have the perfect IRL reference who has classic Lara's facial features right there. See, this, like I said in my last video, that's a man's face. Look how short the caveman forehead is, which for some reason Crystal Dynamics is just insisting on giving Lara Croft the caveman forehead. Now, if you know anything about art and look at anime, for example, when you're doing art and something that isn't a direct scan, photorealistic, if they're like, how do you make a character have more feminine traits versus how you make a character have more masculine traits? Well, one way to make a character have more feminine traits is to give her an elegant forehead, make her forehead bigger than the man's forehead. The man needs that if a man has that like shorter forehead, it gives off a more masculine look. That's why anime girls usually have their foreheads are exaggerated, not to look like a receding hairline, but just to look like it gives the mid face a more feminine appearance when there's a forehead to frame it. But when you have a caveman forehead and a brow bone that just sticks out, see this, like her brow bone is like right down here and so angular. There's no like curve. It's angular. Her brows are way down here. Her eyes are not femininely shaped at all. The whole bone structure is just very sturdy, masculine. Okay, now let's look at Angelina Jolie here. She's got that soft forehead, okay? Curvature to the forehead, soft, elegant forehead. The brows, she does have that arch, which is very characteristic of classic Lara Croft, but they're not all the way down. Her brow bone is still rounded out. Look at how it's rounded out here. All right. Her eyes, very rounded out, soft, feminine, round, but still have that like little angle to it. Round, beautiful eyes. And then, of course, a Lara Croft characteristic is the full lips, you know? And for some reason, I don't know why they don't like giving Lara Croft, why they want to do that. And not that a woman can't still look feminine with smaller lips, but that's just not a Lara Croft characteristic. And the shape of them is very like straight. Girls that have smaller lips can still have that like those roundish shape to it. This is very masculine. So anyway, I'm spending all this time talking about Lara Croft, but regardless, this is what we see in Western media right now with the X-Men, with Lara Croft, with everything. They want to take away femininity from women. They want to just blur the lines of gender, and they want to insert this evil ideology into it. And that's what's going on. People are like, well, Morph is already non-binary. He was always non-binary because he can change his appearance. Changing your appearance doesn't change your gender. You're using the people who say that, like this is the philosophy that all of these woke people have that disregard biology. They think that someone can just cut body parts off and get their brow bone shaved and all that. And, oh, I'm a woman now. No. That doesn't make you a woman if you're already a man, and vice versa. There's no amount of changing your appearance that is going to change what you are. And so first, not even to mention, non-binary is not real. And this is supposed to be X-Men 97. So this is supposed to take place in the 90s when we didn't acknowledge made up bullcrap like that in the 90s. We're just in clown world right now. So anyway, there you have it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. If you would like to catch my streams, which I'll be streaming again today, some classic Tomb Raider remasters, you can do that on my channel at youtube.com/Melanic Mac, as well as on Kick and Twitch at Melanic Mac. And if you want me to read the Bible to you, you can check my Bible channel, Bible Time with Melanic Mac, which I haven't been uploading as much this week because of the Tomb Raider remasters, but I will get there. Thank you all again. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom. Miles Morales is Miles Morales.